You won't believe what just happened. Cheryl Reeve, one of the most respected coaches in the WNBA, just shoved Caitlin Clark during a heated game, and it's thrown the entire league into chaos. Seriously, the arena went dead silent as everyone tried to process what they'd just witnessed. This isn't something you see every day, especially not from a coach like Reeve.
It's what we anticipated as coaches, and I also thought it's what we needed.
Cheryl Reeve is a name that resonates with anyone who's followed the WNBA for even a short time. As one of the league's most successful and respected coaches, Reeve has carved out a legacy that's hard to rival. With multiple championships under her belt, she's known for her ability to turn teams into powerhouses, often through a blend of strategic brilliance and an unyielding demand for excellence. If there's one thing you can say about Cheryl Reeve, it's that she doesn't do things halfway. Her fierce demeanor on the sidelines, coupled with a relentless drive to win, has been central to her reputation and success. She's the type of coach who lives and breathes the game, always pushing her players to go beyond their limits, to dig deeper, and to find that extra gear when it matters most.
The NBA's had their players that people come to see, right? So when the Wolves sell tickets, there are certain games that they know people are going to come watch certain players. And Caitlin Clark and some of the other rookies give us that. Obviously, Caitlin, being the headliner.
This intensity has been both her greatest asset and, as we've seen recently, a source of controversy. Reeve's competitive edge is legendary. She's the coach who will pace the sidelines, barking orders, encouraging her players, and sometimes getting into heated exchanges with officials or opposing teams. It's this fire that has fueled her success, making her teams a formidable force in the league. But that same fire can sometimes burn too hot, leading to moments like the shocking incident where she shoved Caitlin Clark. Now, if you've ever watched Reeve coach, you know she's no stranger to high-pressure situations. She thrives in them, actually. But in that game, something boiled over. Maybe it was the intensity of the matchup, the stakes involved, or just a culmination of the fierce rivalry that's been building up. Whatever it was, it led Reeve to cross a line that few expected, a line that blurred the boundaries between fierce competitiveness and outright aggression. This wasn't just a coach getting caught up in the moment. It was a calculated move that, while subtle, sent shockwaves through the arena. Reeve's shove wasn't overly aggressive, but it was deliberate enough to leave everyone questioning what had just happened. Was it a momentary lapse in judgment? Was she trying to send a message, either to Clark or to her own players? Or was it simply the result of the immense pressure that comes with being at the top for so long? The truth is, Cheryl Reeve's competitive drive has always been a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's made her one of the most successful coaches in WNBA history. On the other, it's led to moments like this, where her intensity spills over into something more controversial. And while her track record speaks for itself, this incident is a stark reminder that even the best in the business can find themselves on the wrong side of the line when the stakes are high. Caitlin Clark is one of those players who seems destined for greatness from the moment she steps on the court. In women's basketball, she's quickly become a household name, known for her jaw-dropping shooting ability and her fearless presence in the game. Watching her play, you get the sense that she's got ice in her veins, never shying away from the big moments, always ready to take the shot that could change the game. It's no wonder she's been hailed as one of the most promising young stars in the WNBA. Clark's journey to the WNBA was nothing short of meteoric. Coming out of college, where she was a standout player, the buzz around her was undeniable. Everyone knew she was special, and her transition to the professional level was highly anticipated. But with that hype comes a whole lot of pressure. In a league packed with veteran talent, Clark had to prove that she wasn't just another promising rookie, but a force to be reckoned with. And let's be real, it's not easy being the young star in a league full of seasoned pros. Every move you make is under the microscope. Every game is a test of whether you can live up to the sky-high expectations. Despite the pressure, Clark has handled it all with an on-court swagger that's both impressive and, at times, polarizing. She plays with a confidence that can't be taught, something that's made her a fan favorite but also a target for intense scrutiny. Some love her for it, others love to hate her, But either way, she's always the center of attention. Her resilience, though, is what really sets her apart. No matter the criticism or the pressure, she keeps showing up, game after game, proving that she's not just here to participate, she's here to dominate. The game between the Minnesota Lynx and Caitlin Clark's team was one of those matchups that had everyone on the edge of their seats before the first whistle even blew. You could feel the tension in the air. Both teams knew this wasn't just another regular season game. The stakes were high, and the atmosphere was electric. From the tip-off, it was clear that this game was going to be a battle. Both teams came out swinging, playing with an intensity that hinted at something more than just the desire to win. It was about pride, about proving who was the tougher, more determined team. Caitlin Clark, as usual, was right in the thick of it. She was everywhere, driving to the basket, sinking long-range shots, and refusing to back down from the physical play that the Lynx are known for. But the game wasn't just about skill, it was about grit, and both sides were pushing each other to the limit. The incident that set the stage for Cheryl Reeve's controversial shove started when Clark, after a hard drive to the basket, collided with a Lynx player. It was one of those moments where everything seemed to stop for a second. You could feel the tension ratchet up another notch as players from both teams converged near the sideline, tempers flaring. In the midst of this chaos, Cheryl Reeve made her move, shoving Clark in a way that was subtle but unmistakable. It wasn't an all-out brawl, but it was enough to send shockwaves through the arena. Clark stumbled back, caught off guard, and suddenly the focus shifted from the intense game to the even more intense altercation. The shove might not have been overly aggressive, but it was a clear signal that this game had crossed into uncharted territory. Everyone watching knew that this was more than just a momentary lapse. It was the boiling point of a game that had been simmering with tension from the start. So, picture this. The game is at its peak intensity, with both teams going all out. Caitlin Clark, as usual, is right in the heart of the action, driving hard to the basket. She collides with a Lynx player, and for a moment, everything feels like it's hanging in the balance. The crowd is buzzing, players are converging near the sideline, and then, bam! Out of nowhere, Cheryl Reeve steps in and shoves Clark. It wasn't a full-blown push, but it was enough to send Clark stumbling back. And in that instant, the entire arena went silent, as if everyone was collectively holding their breath. The shock was palpable. You could see it in the faces of the players on the court, the coaches on the sidelines, and even the fans in the stands. It was one of those moments where time seems to slow down, and everyone is trying to process what just happened. Players from both teams quickly jumped in, trying to separate the two sides before things escalated further. Coaches and officials were right behind them, stepping in to restore order and make sure the situation didn't spiral out of control. But the damage was done. The shove, though brief, sent shockwaves through the WNBA, leaving everyone questioning what had just unfolded. A coach physically engaging with a player, especially someone as high profile as Caitlin Clark, is almost unheard of. It's one thing for players to get into it on the court. That's part of the game. But when a coach crosses that line, it takes things to a whole new level. The broader implications of this moment are hard to ignore. Cheryl Reeve is not just any coach. She's a respected figure in the league, someone with a legacy of success. So for her to make such a move, it raises all sorts of questions. Was it a calculated tactic to get inside Clark's head? Was it a moment of frustration boiling over? Or was it simply a lapse in judgment in the heat of the moment? Whatever the reason, the shove has sparked a debate that goes beyond just this one game. It's made people wonder about the boundaries of competitiveness and the role of a coach in high-stakes situations. Coaches are supposed to be the ones who keep their cool, who guide their players through the chaos. But what happens when the coach is the one adding to the chaos? For Caitlin Clark, being on the receiving end of that shove adds another layer to her already intense spotlight. She's used to the pressure, the scrutiny, the expectations, but now she's also at the center of a controversy that's making headlines across the sports world. And for the WNBA, this incident has become a defining moment, forcing everyone to reflect on the standards of behavior and the consequences when those standards are breached. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.